Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, because if you watched yesterday's video that I uploaded to the channel, you will see that the title of that video reads something like, "A Bitcoin breakout is coming in the next 48 hours. And indeed, in that video, I did explain how I thought we would see a bullish breakout on Bitcoin, followed by a bearish correction on Bitcoin. But interestingly enough, in that video, I didn't necessarily think that we would break bullish and stay up there for all of 1 hour and then start breaking bearish. But funnily enough, that is exactly what Bitcoin has done. Bitcoin did decide to go ahead and break bullish above $5,325 or so, where our resistance is. It did break bullish, but very quickly, once again, Bitcoin decided it was going to move to the downside. The bulls have, as we've been talking about for the last couple of days, exhausted their exuberance. They have exhausted their strength, and it now does seem that we have moved back into the territory of the bears having control. In other words, Bitcoin has finally seen some bearishness come back into the market that we've kind of been expecting for the last month and a half. Anyway, guys, we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. We have a lot of technical indicators and signals from the chart to get into in today's video, so I think it's going to be a good one. If you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell me what you think in the comment section down below, and smash that notification bell, guys. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. 24 hours ago or so, Bitcoin was trading around $5,300, and indeed, right when I was recording yesterday's video was right about right here. It's funny how sometimes I'll record a video, or it was right around here. It's funny how sometimes I'll record a video, and then just a couple hours later, something interesting will happen, and then I wait till the next day to talk about it. But of course, that is what has happened here. Bitcoin did break bullish, and it did then break bearish, and Bitcoin is currently trading around 5K. So let's go ahead and analyze what exactly has happened here, and then try to get to the bottom of where Bitcoin will be going over the next couple of weeks, because of course that's what we're all interested in here. First and foremost, Bitcoin had a very bullish breakout about a week and a half ago. Back over here, we had an April Fool's rally where Bitcoin rallied all the way up here, about 25%. But alas, it was not a prank. Bitcoin did actually just have that kind of bullish momentum in the tank, and Bitcoin did continue moving to the upside up until about 24 to 48 hours ago. From there, Bitcoin did move into an ascending triangle pennant, as we can see right here, and continue to rally to the upside. And interestingly enough, what you will often find is that one, pennants of this caliber that follow a bullish breakout will oftentimes likewise break bullish. Two, this was an ascending triangle pattern. These are bullish patterns, and they do typically see the market break bullish. And of course, we did see a bullish breakout on Bitcoin, but are we really counting this as a bullish breakout? We stayed up here for 3 hours, and 2 of those were red. We'll call it a bullish breakout. It was bullish for a time, and then the bears decided that it was finally their time to come and take over. And in the last 48 hours or so, Bitcoin rallied and fell back through. And if you watch yesterday's video, what I explained in that video was that while Bitcoin does seem very bullish, and I did expect that we would probably see a little bit more bullishness, I thought we might see Bitcoin rally up to $5,600, $5,700, and then start falling over in a couple of days, maybe on into the next week. I did explain that Bitcoin has been rallying for a very long time. We're very overbought on things like the daily RSI, the daily stochastic RSI. Both of these technical indicators are very, very overbought. As you can see, RSI was way up here above 80. Stochastic RSI was way up here above 80. These technical indicators were calling for some form of a pullback. So I did expect that we were going to see some kind of pullback, and you have to be careful of those kind of things, because even though we've all been caught up in bullish exuberance over the last couple of weeks, we do want to keep in mind that the bulls and the bears do oftentimes trade sides. Sometimes the bulls are going to be in control, and sometimes the bears are going to be in control. And if we zoom out to the weekly chart, we can see that Bitcoin has been in control of the bulls for quite some time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candlesticks in a row. Bitcoin was bullish. Bitcoin was green. We haven't seen that kind of thing in a very long time. The last time I can remember seeing 7 red in a row, I made a video on it. I made a couple videos on it because it was on the daily chart, and it was back over in like June or July. We saw Bitcoin had 7 red in a row, and this was a very big deal. We saw Bitcoin saw 7 red in a row right here, and when it did see that, we finally saw a little bit of green, and then Bitcoin kept going down. But nevertheless, that's how Bitcoin tends to work. It likes to move in the same direction for a little while and then change directions, of course. But we have seen that Bitcoin has been bullish for 7 weeks. And of course, when Bitcoin's been bullish for that long, and we've seen that Bitcoin is so overextended on these technical indicators, of course, we had to expect some kind of pullback. Now, I, in my prediction, did give it a little bit more time for the bulls to continue rallying, simply because the Bitcoin bulls were in this pennant. That was pretty much the only reason. Of course, I talked about other supporting levels that we're going to be discussing later on in today's video, but I did think that there might be a little bit more bullish exuberance in the tank. I was wrong on that. Clearly, Bitcoin was slightly more bearish than I had given it credit for. But the overall arc of what I talked about does seem to have come to pass. Now, with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about a lot of different technical indicators and what they're telling us about Bitcoin, what levels of support we're looking at, what kind of future do we see for Bitcoin following this. Because, of course, if we look out to the daily chart, we'll see that Bitcoin has been very bullish for a very long time. Ever since the beginning of February, Bitcoin has been generally trending to the upside. Now that has changed. Bitcoin had a 25% rally in the middle of that. Bitcoin has, of course, been very bullish. And I think the bullishness that we've seen in these kind of breakouts and this bullish exuberance that we've seen is indicative of a coming bull market. Even if Bitcoin crashes another 20%, like I alluded to being a possibility in yesterday's video, even if that happens, then we want to keep in mind how much bullishness we just witnessed. So of course we're going to see some kind of pullback, and also with that much bullishness and all of the technical indicators that we've been looking at being broken and giving us the signals that they're giving us, we do expect still that a Bitcoin bull market is coming. This is part of it. As we talked about, if we look back on the weekly chart to the last Bitcoin bull market, what you will see is that Bitcoin had a little false rally before the actual bull market started. As I've been saying for a month, Bitcoin is right here. This is where Bitcoin is. This is the beginning of the bull market in 2015. We're not here yet, but we're going there. We're going to be there soon. But this is where we are right now. And of course, we have to follow through with some bearishness. And then in a couple of months, we will see a Bitcoin bull market start more than likely. That's what all the technicals are pointing to. Now, speaking of technicals, let's go ahead and dive into a lot of them. We have a lot to talk about in today's video. So let's go ahead and get back onto the Coinbase chart. And one of the first things I want to talk about is the RSI. If we look down here on the RSI, this is something that we want to keep an eye on and that we want to be getting a signal from. As you can see here, Bitcoin's RSI has been trending to the downside over the last couple of weeks. Bitcoin's tops have been trending to the upside, especially in the last 24 hours after Bitcoin broke bullish. We saw that Bitcoin established two prominent tops right there and right there. And if you draw a trend line over those, then what we'll see is that it's an uptrend. If we draw a trend line over the tops of the RSI, we will see that it's a downtrend. And for those of you who are not in the know, that is called RSI divergence. It's called bearish RSI divergence because it tends to cause bearishness in the market. And one of the last things you want to see when you're trying to form a rally and trying to break a bullish is major RSI divergence on not one, but several time frames. I know there's RSI divergence on the 4-hour and the daily chart as well. As we can see, there's been RSI divergence on the daily chart, on the 4-hourly chart with a level of resistance right there, uptrending levels of resistance right there. That is a major sign that did predict this market that I forgot to talk about. I do apologize for that. But it is something that we can use to kind of indicate what Bitcoin has done. Bitcoin has slight RSI divergence here on the daily chart. As you can see, a downtrend there. And obviously, Bitcoin has been trending to the upside here, and so too have its tops been over the last week or so. Now, one thing I also want to talk about is after we've had this bearish correction, and in the last couple of days, I talked about MACD closing in on itself. MACD has been closing in on itself, and especially in the last 24 hours since we saw this bearish breakout, and we saw that massive red candlestick, we have seen MACD start to close in on itself. We're likely to see a cross in this in the next 3 days, and when we do, it'll probably bring about some more bearishness in this new bearish rally. I do think that Bitcoin has the exuberance now to start a bearish rally. It wouldn't take an act of God to cause Bitcoin to start rallying again and start moving to the upside. But at this point, since Bitcoin's been rallying so well for so long, I think we're going to see a correction. And I will talk about where I think that correction is going to go in a little bit. But one more thing I want to talk about with the RSI and Stochastic RSI is the fact that they've started curving down. I've talked about in previous videos about how the signals you want to read from RSI and stochastic RSI are not necessarily the territory that they're in. It's more the direction that they're moving in correlation with the territory they're in. Let me give you a visual example of that. I'm not necessarily encouraging you guys to say just because Bitcoin's RSI is up here in overbought territories means that a correction is coming. What I want you to do instead, and what I think is the better way to do it, is say, okay, Bitcoin is up here in overbought territories and it's moving to the downside. When you have both of those signals, that's when you really get a strong signal from the RSI. If Bitcoin's RSI was moving to the downside, but it was at 40, that wouldn't really be much of a bearish signal because it's already oversold. But if Bitcoin's RSI starts up here above 80 and then starts moving to the downside, that's going to be a very powerful bearish signal. So too can you read the same thing into stochastic RSI. When stochastic RSI is up here above 80 and you see it start moving to the downside, you see some of these crosses right here. When you see those kind of signals, take them as bearish signals, and vice versa. You can take the opposite as bullish signals. But you want to look at these indicators not necessarily when they're in overbought and oversold territories, but when they start moving in the opposite direction of what they've been moving in the past, as we've seen here recently. Now, there are more things I want to discuss. I do want to talk about some moving averages out here on the weekly chart, for example. One of them that I want to bring up is the 50 weekly moving average. This moving average right here, right about there, is an important moving average. We've talked about this moving average in the past. Bitcoin did have resistance and support on it in the last bull market. We'll go ahead and get rid of the 20 EMA so you can see it a little bit better. That red moving average is the one we're looking at. And this is an important moving average. As we can see, last time when Bitcoin went on its rally back over here, Bitcoin actually got resistance on this moving average in a similar way to what we've seen now. And this is just another one of those similarities that we've seen in today's market between this market right here back in 2015 that you guys are all probably so familiar with by now, and today's market, and specifically the last month or two's market. There are so many similarities, guys. I'm going to go, I'm thinking I'm going to go and make a list of all the similarities because honestly, there's probably about 25 similarities. I'm not even exaggerating in the slightest. Technical similarities between this rally here, this accumulation phase, and our current rally and our current accumulation phase. There are so many similarities. It is unbelievable how many similarities there are, and it's an absolute solid proof of the power of technical analysis. And as you can see, the last time that we saw Bitcoin get resistance on the 50 moving average was right over here. Before that was in 2015, and currently we've seen Bitcoin get resistance on this level right now. Now, of course, we didn't go all the way up to it. We went up to it. We missed it by about $200 to $300. Maybe we have more gas in the tank. I don't think so, guys. I think the bears are in control now. But we have seen that Bitcoin has, in the area, rejected off of that moving average. That's an important moving average you want to look at, and that's an important moving average that I am that I'm happy that I understand because it's a very powerful moving average. Likewise, with moving averages, let's move back onto our daily chart. I believe is the next one I want to show you guys. If we look here, we are seeing a bullish cross between the 20 and the 200 daily moving averages. We have seen this cross. Tomorrow it will be a lot more pretty. It will be more confirmed. And if we look back into the past, and that only hasn't crossed because BLX is 1 day behind. But if we look back into the past, the last time we saw that cross was indeed right back over here in the area of this rally. Now, of course, we saw it before the rally ended, and then Bitcoin continued to rally for another week and a half or so, and then moved to the downside. I don't think we have that strength right now, but the point is we saw this kind of cross. The last time we saw this kind of cross was actually at the beginning of the bull market, but the time before that was again in this accumulation phase. We've now seen that cross, which means the next cross will probably correspond with the Bitcoin bull market beginning in the next couple of months, as we've been talking about ad infinitum. Anyway, moving on to some more short-term stuff to talk about this downtrending rally in the shorter-term time frames for the last couple of days. If we zoom in here to the hourly chart, I want to start talking about levels of support and talk about where Bitcoin is going to move from here, because obviously Bitcoin started moving to the downside with this kind of move here showing up on the weekly chart, showing up on the daily chart, obviously showing up on the 4-hourly and the hourly chart. Bitcoin breaking levels of support and obviously transferring power to the bears. There's maybe a 30% chance that the bulls regain control from here, bounce off of some support levels, and can take the reins back and start moving us back towards 6K. Maybe there's a chance of that. I don't think that's the case. I think Bitcoin is now in control of the bears. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to crash all the way down to $3,000 or anything. I'm not calling for a 60% crash or anything. I'm simply saying that I think the bears are in control for the foreseeable future, defining our terms of foreseeable future, probably the next 7 to 14 days. We'll talk about that. Anyway, the major levels of support I want to talk about are interesting, actually, and I'll show you why. The first level of support is obviously going to be right here around $5,000. Bitcoin is already trading close to this level, and if Bitcoin bounces here over the next couple of hours, that will, of course, be a level of support and a pit stop on our way down. Perhaps we recover from here. We just talked about that. I'm not convinced that that's going to be the case. Next level of support after that would be right here around $4,800 in my opinion. As we can see, we had a bottom over here, we had a top over here. It's kind of it's a semi big even. We talk about semi big evens in the course. It's a semi big even in that it's about 4/5 of the way through between $4,000 and $5,000. It's got 2 zeros in it. It's the second number in it's an even number. There's a lot of different ways you can read into that, but in general, $4,800 is going to be a stronger level of support than $4,772.36, you know, because people like trading around those big $100 divisible and $1,000 divisible levels. This is going to be another major level of resistance, support, also because of these definitions of this support back over here. The next level of support I'll be looking at is $4,600. As you can see, Bitcoin got a little bit of support in this zone before it started blasting off in this accumulation phase, in this ascending triangle pattern here over the last couple of days. And I do think that that's going to be a level of support. Now, if you guys are really skilled at chart reading, I didn't notice this at first until I brought the tool out. You might notice something about these levels of support that I've drawn, and that is that they seem to be roughly in the middle of the top and the bottom of this rally. Well, there's a tool for that, and it's called the Fibonacci retracement tool. If you bring out Fibonacci and you start it from the beginning of this rally, you drag it all the way up to our top, guess what happens? The levels of support and resistance on Fibonacci line up very similarly, almost perfectly, with the levels that I was just discussing. We see that Bitcoin has a 38.2% retracement Fibonacci level right at $5,000 where we were expecting it. If we don't use the Wixes, then it comes down just a little bit, right down to here around $4,950. We'll use the Wixes since it includes 5K on one of the levels of support. If we see this, then Bitcoin does have a support level right there. Interesting. If we look down even further, we see the 0.5% support level is almost perfectly aligned with $4,800. And if we look down, we see that the 61.8% Fibonacci level, by far and away the most important Fibonacci support level, that's the inverse of phi, is right here around $4,670, very close to that $4,600 level of support that I showed you. These are going to be the important levels and zones of support, right around 5K, right around $4,800, and in between $4,600 and $4,700. Those are going to be the levels of support that I foresee Bitcoin garnering support on and potentially bouncing off of in the short term. There's a very strong likelihood that Bitcoin will have some kind of short-term bounce, and by short-term I mean for a day or two. It might come down here, bounce a little bit, kind of stair-step its way down here. Maybe it bounces, tests resistance, bounces, maybe it tests resistance again. But I think Bitcoin is in general going to trend to the downside for the next week or so. We'll see, guys. I want to make it very clear that there is always that chance that Bitcoin does have some kind of miraculous recovery and the Bitcoin bulls do come in and start rallying Bitcoin again and Bitcoin blasts off to the moon and we start the bull market. There's always a chance of that, so don't discount it 100%. Take everything I say and everything anyone says, including everything that you say, with a grain of salt. Sometimes the market's going to do stuff that you don't expect. You have to keep that in mind because it will happen, and if you're not ready for it, it will blindside you. But I want you to understand that Bitcoin has been very bullish for nearly 2 months, and we've been expecting some kind of pullback for over a month based on the kind of technical analysis that we were doing in the bear market and in the beginning of the accumulation phase. Of course, we had to expect a little bit more bullishness because Bitcoin is moving out of those phases, but nevertheless, Bitcoin is cyclical, and we are going to see the transition of power sometime. Bitcoin can't just run up to the moon forever. If you guys were here in 2017, and especially in December 16th, 2017, you know the reason for that all too well. And in case you guys aren't too familiar with dates, that was, of course, the all-time high at Bitcoin over here is the December the 16th of 2017, right over there. That was the all-time high, and we do see that Bitcoin eventually is going to have some kind of downtrend, especially when we aren't completely into a bull market just yet. Guys, let's go ahead and continue looking at charts here. If we look, we also see that Bitcoin is above the 20 exponential moving average. This is an important level of support that I want to keep an eye out for. It's sitting right here around $4,700. By the time we come down here and test it, it very well may be sitting up here around the $4,800 level, doubling the support on that level. That's an important moving average you're going to want to look out for. Of course, we've talked about in the past, the 20 exponential moving average is actually a good definition of whether or not Bitcoin is in a rally or not. For the last several weeks, Bitcoin has been in a rally because it's been above the 20 exponential moving average. When it's below the 20 exponential moving average, you're in a bearish rally, also known as a downtrend. It's such a powerful technical indicator that I made an entire video on it in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, not just on exponential moving averages or moving averages. We have videos on those up here as well, moving averages, etc. I made an entire video on just the 20 exponential moving average, and I did that because it's a very powerful moving average on basically every single time frame. So keep an eye out for this. This will be another level of support that you're going to want to look out for. So, guys, with all that analysis out of the way, with all those technical indicators read, what's the final say on the matter? What is Bitcoin going to do here over the next couple of weeks? Well, like I said in yesterday's video, guys, I've been predicting for about a week or two now that Bitcoin's going to have another breakout. It's going to move to the upside, maybe up to $5,500 or so, maybe up to 56, maybe even 57. Some people said it would go up to 6K. I didn't say that, but some people said it would, and then we'd see a pullback. Of course, we were going to see that the bears were going to take back control. That's what we've been saying. I said we were going to have a bullish breakout, and we said we were going to have a bearish downtrend to follow that, breaking us down probably below $5,000. Now, of course, when I said that, I didn't necessarily believe that Bitcoin was going to break out for an hour and then start breaking to the downside. So I suppose technically I was correct on that prediction, but of course that's not exactly what I meant. So obviously I didn't call this move or anything. But it is interesting that Bitcoin followed what I said but didn't at the same time. Either way, what we see is that Bitcoin is now moving to the downside. We see that Bitcoin has had that final bullish breakout And as I've talked about in previous videos, when you see Bitcoin or any other market break a level of resistance, especially a strong one and a major one, as 5350 was certainly, when you see a market do that and then you see the rally to follow, that is the clairvoyant time in the market. When you see this kind of thing, that means that we're not seeing very much bullishness in the market. Bitcoin had just broken a level of resistance and had the opportunity to go on a massive rally following that. Unfortunately, Bitcoin only rallied about maybe 1 to 2% and then fell over. This is telling us exactly how much bullishness was left in the tank for Bitcoin, and it very clearly wasn't much. After we broke bearish and broke this level of support, Bitcoin, on the contrary, broke very bearish and continued moving to the downside in a very strong way. This move right here, in contrast with this move right here, shows to me that the bulls here are much weaker than the bears here. That is a very easy way to read into the strength of the bulls and the bears. It's another very important video I have in the course right down here, gauging the strength of the bulls and the bears and gauging the strength of support and resistance. Very, very important concepts that you guys need to understand if you're going to be able to read markets in a productive way. And when you see breakouts like this, you see a bullish breakout with little exuberance and then following immediately a bearish breakout with massive exuberance, you're going to be able to tell that the bears are now in control. So keep that in mind, guys. All the technical indicators are calling for bearishness. We are forecasting that Bitcoin's more than likely going to be moving to the downside for the next couple of weeks. And we do want to keep that in mind. What I'm not saying is to go open any short positions just yet. We might want to wait on some more confirmations. There's nothing wrong with waiting until Bitcoin, for example, breaks the $5,000 support, because that is a major level of support, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin had a small bounce off of it. In general, though, I think we're going to be trending to the downside. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video anyway, but I do want to hear what you guys have to think about that technical analysis in the comment section down below. Do you think it was a good video? Think it was a bad video? I think it was a pretty good video. I think we covered a lot of our bases. I think we managed to get to a lot of topics and discussed a lot of indicators. I'm pretty happy with the way this has turned out, and tell me in the comment section down below what you think. Did you get value out of the video? Anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for the technical analysis portion of today's video, but I do want to mention something with CT2A, and that is that you guys are absolutely loving this sale I've been running. I didn't expect anywhere near as much support for the sale as we have been getting, guys. We've had over 30 people join the course in the last 4 days, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I'm loving that you guys are enjoying the course. You guys are absolutely loving the course. I have so many of you guys email me and tell me that you're enjoying the course. I have one person in particular who I'm not going to name their name for anonymity reasons, but they were just emailing me and just pouring and gushing about how much they've been enjoying the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, and talked about how it was worth every single penny, how, like I talked about in yesterday's video, one lesson you learn is worth the course price if you implement it, because you will make that money back on a trade because of the lessons you learned in CT2A, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the sale to the end of Friday. I know I've already extended it once, but you guys love the sale so much, I don't want to take it away from you, and you guys seem to be really enjoying it. So if you've been looking to learn about technical analysis, you want to learn about all the different technical indicators I've discussed in today's video, every single thing that I talked about in today's video is discussed at length in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, with one notable exception, and that would be the stochastic RSI. A video on stochastic RSI will most likely be coming this month to the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. The plan is to release 20 more videos to the course over the next 2.5 months or so. And when we do that, unfortunately, I will have to raise the price because the value of the course is going to continue to rally. But of course, there will be sales in the future. So if you want to get in the course and you want to get access to all 30 current videos and all videos in the future, you will get access to all videos in the future. That's one question someone had. If you buy the course now, you will get access to every single current and future video at the same price. There will be no extra charges. You pay once, you never pay again. If you want to get access to all of that, especially before the course price rises, because the course is never going to go down in price, because the value of the content is never going to decrease. If you want to do that, the link's in the description. We're still running the April 2019 sale. Same coupon code, same 20% off, same $119 price tag, guys. If you check that out, I guarantee you that if you implement these strategies that are in this course and you implement them and you use them in good trades and you make proper trades, you're going to probably make money. I say guarantee, I shouldn't say guarantee. I can't guarantee your success. I'm not guaranteeing your success. But my point is, this product is worth every single penny, and the dozens of people that have been joining in the last couple of days also agree. Like I said, guys, we've never had a single refund on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, and we have a very fair, no questions asked 14-day refund policy, so that tells you something right there. We've had hundreds of people go through the course. Never once have we had a refund. That's very interesting to me, and I'm very happy about that. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. If you want to get into the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, there's a link in the description down below. Click that, check out the sales page, check out everything we have to offer, read the FAQ, do your research before you go and spend $120. I don't want you guys spending money that you don't want to spend. Spend the money if you want to do it. Join the course, and then we'll have some fun in there. As always, guys, if you want to get in contact with me when you're in the course, all you got to do is shoot me an email. I've been responding to a lot of you guys. I've had long conversations about Elastos for one, and the chart on Elastos. I was talking with one of our students about the Elastos chart. We'll go ahead and look at that for a second. Hello, you know who you are. You know who we're talking about. Elastos over BTC, unfortunately, is what we were talking about, not USD. But if we look at Elastos over BTC, the person that emailed me was talking about this triangle pattern, this descending triangle pattern that Bitcoin was in. I said, there's probably a good chance that that Elastos will break bullish here, because I'm not going to get into all of them in today's video, but there were a lot of technical indicators pointing bullish on Elastos. But of course, I don't follow Elastos, and perhaps something fundamental happened to Elastos. Perhaps Elastos had some more bearishness that I hadn't expected. I looked at the market for about 3 minutes, and unfortunately, Elastos did break bearish. But I did enjoy talking about the chart with one of our students. You know who you are. If you want to tell people in the comment section down who you are, go right ahead. You seem to have been a very big supporter of the channel. Anyway, guys, I'm pretty much going to wrap it up from here. If you guys do want to learn about technical analysis and be prepared for the next Bitcoin bull market, the link is in the description down below. The sale will be running for another 2 days. But that's going to do it for today's video. I think I've said that like 7 times today, guys. So I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching to the end. Let's see, I want to reward you guys once again for watching all the way to the end. Write the name of a SpongeBob character in the description down below. If you don't know what SpongeBob is, well, that's your problem. Google it. That's a great show. Everybody ought to know what SpongeBob is. Write the name of a SpongeBob character in the description down below. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching to the end, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.